welcome to our 7th episode for Zoo Americus. Today's episode is not a habitat, but today's episode is building a restaurant. Like you have seen in previous episodes, our zoo has been expanding and growing. So I thought it would be time to build a restaurant so our customers could have a nice bite to eat. And because this zoo has a nice lake, I thought it would be nice to have something that would be situated to the side of that lake with a view of the water and maybe even a little bit of a view to the animals. But of course we have to be careful with that because I had some experience with building restaurants close to habitats before. And in the dynamics, it will lead up to a lot of people standing right across your guests that are eating and watching the animals. So I have to figure out how I can make that work so it won't be so bothering. As you can see, I have started building the restaurant already, and because I wanted to connect it up with different parts of the zoo so people can go and find the restaurant from different areas where they are, I was making a road towards our Reptopia area. And you have also noticed maybe that in this, when I was making this, the armadillo habitat hasn't been built yet. So the armadillo habitat I was making the armadillo habitat during this build actually. So I was like switching between these two a little bit during the building. And that was because I was running out of money. And the restaurant not rendering a lot of funds, and the build was using up a lot of my funds, so I had to make a decision there to start building that habitat and just finishing that so the zoo would get a little bit more interest and a bit more income. Being placed close to the lake, I was thinking of making it like a harbor restaurant and giving it a little bit of a marine vibe as well. So I was starting this off thinking about something we call, in the Netherlands, we call it a brown cafe, or maybe in other countries, I think it's more like an Irish pub kind of feel. So I had looked up some inspiration for English cottages and English harbors and harbor style restaurants and stuff. And I saw this really nice stone cottage feel like buildings, and I was thinking of making it look a little bit like that. So inspired by those pictures, I started off with using the stone walls and thinking about using the brown wood inside, making it like the brown cafe Irish pub kind of feel. But as I always do with all my builds, the inspiration comes when I'm building. So I test out a lot of stuff while I'm building, and I just start with an idea and I see how it goes with the flow. So in this case as well, I didn't, when I started, I wasn't planning on making a second story floor. But when I was making it and I saw the top of the restaurant part, I thought, oh, it would be nice to have a vide, we call it in Dutch, or in France, I think it's a French word. So a part of the restaurant that has a balcony, and you can look down on the bottom part. So I was making this balcony part, and of course I wanted it to be walkable, so I needed to place parts of the sidewalk there. And that gave another problem with, because it's a bridge construction then, you have the curbs, and you cannot cancel the curbs when you make a bridge. So I had to make the floor a little bit higher. So in the end, I think I could have saved myself a lot of trouble with making this part. I would suggest for anybody who wants to make this kind of part with a top floor, and if you're using the restaurant parts, is don't bother with the roads or the paths, because you don't really need the paths for the second floor. If you just place the tables, your guests will be automatically transferred to those tables, and when they leave the table, they will be automatically transferred back down. So there is no need at all to make a stairs like I did. And what you will see later on as well, or actually I'm starting it right now, I was also covering the stairs with wooden planks and making my own stairs because I thought it would look a lot better, and I couldn't make the stairs in this brown color. And I wanted to keep it in theme, so I was covering the stairs with all these steps anyway. And the guests are not going up there because there are no animals there and there's nothing else for interest for them to see. So there was nobody going up there. So in the end, it was a lot of trouble for not. So if you are making a second floor like this, just place your stables upstairs and don't bother with the path because it's unnecessary, completely unnecessary. But well, at least it was not too much trouble to make it. It was a little bit fiddly to figure out, and it didn't stick through the side, but everything else, it actually went quite fast. And I did give me a little bit of a hand railing on where I had to place all the pieces. So as you've seen, I was making the stairs, and I'm not showing every second of this process because I was placing the movie in my movie editor, and when I saw all the footage speeded up 8 times, like I always do, speed up 8 times my building process, it was 1.5 hours. And that was a little bit too long. I always try to keep these kind of speed builds in a half-hour build. So I cut out some pieces, and a lot of the pieces I cut out now is that I show you how I start building the pieces and how I put the pieces together. But then when I copy things over, I just cut that parts out. So you will see a lot of these cuts being made. Here I'm making the hand railings for the side of the stairs, so you can grab a hand railing, and I'm using the hinges there with the wooden beams, and then you have a beautiful hand railing. It's very easy to make something like this. And here, like I said, I want to have like the little bit of a pub or an old barn kind of feeling. So I'm using these pieces, and because they're flexi color, they're very easy to color, and making them this nice dark brown color, and just copying it over to the other side and just making everything look nice and just sticking it down like that. And then I could copy it over and use the same pieces as a railing piece for the top side, so people won't fall down, and that's what finished it off. Then we have the toilets. I thought, every restaurant has a toilet facility, so I was making men and ladies toilets on the side there. And because the stairs is there, you have this nice area where you have people coming in, but also the toilet area. So if people are waiting or anything, it's nice and quiet. So it really fitted well there on this location. Very happy with that. And it was also a great place to put a cash machine. So putting the cash machine and also making some small items there, so it looks a little bit like the fishing, or it's like a fishing place, and just making that look nice. And then of course I needed to make the second story. And first I thought I wanted to make a slanted roof going towards the water side, but later I changed that up. I didn't feel like the right shape for the building, because I wanted to make this like an old English building, and this kind of shapes I didn't really see, so I changed it up. And here you can also see me testing out with the windows, and I wasn't happy with these windows, and I was thinking about making the beams like that, so you would get a little bit more of a constructed feeling with or a barn feeling. But then again, I was unhappy with that, so I changed it and I just made it into a simple square, made a few windows in there, and also that meant I had to make my own windows. With the inspiration I saw some of these buildings with white beams, and I thought actually with the gray stone this works very nicely. So I opted to stick with these white beams, just put them on the corners for like a support, and then use the same white beams to make the dressing for the windows and the dressing for the openings of the doors. And with these really simple white beams, I was actually making me quite happy. It looked really nice. It colored very nicely with the stone. So yeah, happy with that. And just grabbing the window out of the windowsill because placing the glass would be a lot easier. And also I wanted to see if I can make a glass in there with some small pieces, smaller glasses, so it wasn't one big sheet. But in the end, it didn't want to work out really the way I wanted, so that meant that I needed to opt it again for making something myself. And that also made the option that I could use the FlexiColor again and just see if I could use the different color. And again, here with the brown color, I was very happy that it looked very nice, and I made it on the inside as well, and that just gave a nice finished look. And then it's just copying over and placing it in all the openings inside the building, and then it looked good. And like I said, I'm making the same beams on the door openings, and later on I will be making the doors in a different color, but you will see that at the end of the video I'm making the doors. Also, you can see me that I'm changing up these color of the area where the restaurant is. I was making it with the brown, but it felt like the brown was getting too overwhelming on the inside, and it was just one big block. When you walked in or you looked at the area, it was just one big block of all these of this wood, and it was just too much. It didn't feel right. So with the plaster pieces, it just gave a slightly more serene look, and I thought that was looking a lot better. And making here the windows for the toilets. And then for most buildings, I feel like if you make a small base, it just looks a little bit better. And just checking out these reference pieces as well, pictures as well, I saw that most of these buildings have like a rocky base. So I was making a little edge with these rocks as well at the bottom, and just edging the building and making it all cohesive. And because we have of these rock areas, we have nice different sizes, I could really make it fit all around the building. And with the color of the building, I saw the dark wood on the outside wasn't really doing anything for that building as well, so I changed that up to the lighter color. And then I'm just placing the tables on the water edge, and here I'm placing a table on the inside as well, and just testing out the table settings, and it just didn't feel completely right, so I deleted it. But later on I am placing 2 tables on that inside as well, and then just trying out a different placing of the umbrellas and tables and seeing how that looks. Of course, when you're sitting outside, especially when it's sunny, you want some shade when you're eating, so putting those umbrellas there, it's really nice for the look, and you can really play around with those colors as well. And those tables, restaurant tables as well, you can just change all the colors of the tables and the chairs, and even the feet of the table. So you can really make choices there. And here you can see me placing the restaurant tables on the top floor, so people can sit there and eat there. And I'm placing only very few tables on the bottom, because you need quite a big space there for people walking around, going inside the restaurant and going from the restaurant and going to the toilets. So I really needed enough space for people to go around. So only with 4 tables on the bottom, that was just plenty. And when I was at this part, I was ready to make a sign for the restaurant. And like I said, it's going to be a harbor restaurant, so I opted for calling it Harbor Restaurant. I think that was nice. And first of all, I thought I would make a smaller sign on one side and a big sign on the other side. And I was just testing out different ways of how it looked and how it would look. And although this first option didn't look awful and I was okay, later on I was making the sign here, and I used these fonts that I got from the workshop, and I used them before for some other projects, and I was just happy with these letters, and it looked really posh. And with the dark blue on the background with these pieces, it just looked really, really nice. And I was really happy with it. And I was sort of like, okay, it needs to be on both sides. So I just copied it over. And here with the plant holder and some lighting, I'm making the top lights that will be shining down on the sign in the night. So the sign would be lighted and had a nice lighting there as well. And that just finished off the look. Just fiddling around with the placing and that the lamps are on the right place. And later on, I also just, when it's dark, I fiddled around with the lights, just making them slightly more bright. And here you can see a little cut because I forgot to tape a part, and that was building the roof and building that side building there. There is a staff building in there, and I built a small building in the same look and feel as the main building. And on the roof, I just used the tiles, the Chinese tiles, and made a chimney and a wind vane, and that was it. So we didn't miss a lot. Here I'm starting with building the doors, and because I was using the dark blue for the sign, I thought it would be really nice to use the same dark blue color for these doors as well. So I'm looking for a flexi-color piece, and this piece was really, really nice, but it just has this slightly off color because it's just like a little bit of weathered wood. And so I needed to play around with these colors to get like a similar color like the sign. And these pieces, so I needed to fiddle around a little bit, but they were just the right size for making this glass door like that. And then I have this handle. It's the sign piece where you can place the signs on the outside of buildings as well, and use that for a door handle, and then just placing it there, give them some hinges, copying it over and turning around the other door, and that was it. And then I had a nice door for that side of the building. And also I thought it would be nice if that door would be standing a little bit open, so I turned it a bit so it looks a little bit more natural and people walking in and out. On the other side, I had a little bit of a bigger opening. It was quite large, and actually I knew I had this piece from the workshop that somebody made. It's a really nice piece with sliding doors, and I thought, you know what, I already made a nice door on the other side that looks really in key with the building. I'm just opting for the sliding doors, which would be completely normal in any zoo to have these sliding doors on the restaurant side. So that would be the big opening. And then I had to make the doors for the side that go to the part where people can eat outside. And there I also needed to make my own doors because these openings are again a little bit smaller than the doors on the other side. So I had to figure out how I could make 2 doors there that would be slightly smaller. And here you can see that I'm starting to build a door, and I was thinking of making half wood, half top piece with glass. With this door, there was a little bit of a problem because I made it too skinny. So I needed to make it wider in a later state. And then when I was making it wider, as you can see, I used these little pieces to make like a tiny window definition. But when I was making it wider, it was too wide again. So then I had to make it smaller. And then I thought, oh, this piece is just like around the right width of the door. So I was using this piece and it looked really nice. So I'm happy with that. So I could just copy it over and paste it on the inside, making sure with a little bit of sticking it through the wall that it was sitting on the right place. And then copying it over and having to make the hinges there. And here I used the different kind of hinges with a little bit sticking out, because I was thinking these would be like flapping doors. You can really easily walk through them and just push them both sides, so they will go to the inside as well as the outside, so you can easily walk through them with a tray in your hand or some food in your hand. And then on the inside, I wanted to make it look a little bit nicer, but I didn't want to plaster the whole inside of the building. Like I said, I had a little bit of the feel of the building that it was like the inspiration of an old pub or something. So I wanted to keep that stonework on the inside as well. But just with this edging, it just felt a little bit neater and a little bit more in sync. And just coloring in the same plaster pieces with the same gray color as around the restaurant, it just made it all more cohesive. Then I wasn't happy with the dark brown at the restaurant part, so I used here the same white pieces as I used for the windowsills, again just to make everything come together. And then to give more atmosphere, I was making these planters in different sizes. So I have these small planters and these bigger planters with mulch inside, and just filling them up with a lot of plants, just making sure that it feels more alive. So then after that, after the plants, I was making the lighting above the tables, and I'm using different pieces here. Actually, I'm using a wall light inside this. It's one of the conservation pieces, and I felt it looks a little bit like something they used to with fishing. And I thought it would be nice for this harbor restaurant. It really gives a nice feel. And just wait. And actually, I used the same light you see me here putting on the wall. I put that inside of the lamp, and then just used lamp pieces and a part of the spinning rotor piece, and just making them come down all the way to down. And then for the lowest tables on the ground floor, I used the same conservation pieces, but then the one with the smaller part. So because I thought it would be like slightly different on this side, on the smaller lower tables than the top side, because they would have such long pieces of going down. I thought just giving that a little bit more of a slimmed look would be a lot nicer. And yes, with these wall lights hanging everywhere, it just really made it feel like a restaurant already, a full restaurant. Very happy with that. And then just putting some small cracks in the wall, just making it a little bit more realistic. And then for the tables outside, just giving them a cohesive look again by using that dark blue color and putting it around the tables, so that those pieces just look those pieces look the same as the doors or the sign, and then just copying it over and putting it on all the tables. And now I'm making the outside dining area look nice. So I'm making with rocks, I'm making like it's a solid piece where these people are dining on. Those rock pieces I could recolor, so I made them a nice light color. I just giving it a little bit more of a luxury feel when it's a little bit lighter rock than the the gray on the outside or the gray they are normally. And just making sure that they are a little bit in line with the pathing, so it really feels like the pathing is supported by this rock. And when I paste the rock, and I saw this with somebody else, you have these water lines where the rock and the water is touching. And especially with these kind of rocks where there will be a lot of grains in the rock, you will see that there will be dirt and moss and stuff like that. So right on the water line, I'm just making a little bit like there is something there. And that just like, this is like small details, but it really makes it look a lot better. And then I thought, then this moss will also be growing from the grass inside the rocks as well. So I wanted to have some moss sticking up from the side where the grass will touch it. Then I wanted to make a railing there, and keeping into this harbor water kind feel, I saw these pieces and I thought this really looks like something you would moor a boat or something, and I was using that for the corner pieces, but they weren't long enough, so I needed to extend it a little bit with the wood on the bottom, so it really went all the way down, and then just copied it over to the other side. And then I made the pieces that would go in between, and I saw that this really tiny round piece was it fits perfectly on this stick, and I just put a piece of rope in between, and that just made the look all complete. So with these pieces, copying it over again, just placing it all around this area, and then you can see me copying over the tables there. Like I said, at the end I decided that the tables there would be also looking well with all the finished look. I thought they could be there, it's not a problem, it looks nice, and with that seating area extra it would be fine. And with that done, we could start filling up everything with plants. So we are planting everything full, and like you will see, I have skipped quite a part here as well because I will be planting a lot of trees. And here you see a very big tree on the front of the building, and I will be deleting that later because it was just annoyingly blocking the view of the restaurant a bit, and it didn't feel like it was a nice open view anymore. And so I deleted it, and you can see it here. And then just placing a couple of rocks in between, just giving that a nice, a little bit of a English feel maybe, and just filling it up. And we had a little path there as well for our staff path, so we needed to cover that up as well with the same concrete pieces I had used before, so I can just reuse them here to cover up that path as well. So here you can see our finished restaurant. It's our finished products. Took me a lot of time, like I said, but actually I'm happy with it. People are coming in there regularly. It looks nice, it looks cohesive, and I hope when we put the water animals around it in the future, it will even looks better and we give it even more of a cohesive look. And hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope to see you in the next episode. Bye bye.